All right, hey, good afternoon. This is Quing Lee. I'm with my good friend Tom Brennan. We're the Chicago Horn Loudspeaker guys. Tom, it's hard to believe 2024 is almost over and 2025 is 2 weeks away. So we want to take this chance to wish all of you people out there that's been watching our videos Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and have a safe and happy holiday. Today we're going to introduce our very first DIY system, designed and built by one of the most prolific DIY people in the Chicago area, I feel. This is a very sophisticated, complicated, 5-way hybrid horn system. And I think you guys are going to enjoy it.
Okay, then
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very interesting system. It's 5 ways, and it's horn loaded from 100 cycles all the way up to the top. And the guy built his own horns,
Yep.
own mid-bass horns out of cast concrete, and they're in 4 pieces, so he can break them down, put them together, take them apart, get them through doors. And he uses Japanese Goto compression drivers, which are kind of a cult item, I guess you'd call them. You know, they're very expensive. They're kind of based on Western electric philosophy. It's kind of like that you wanted to make the ultimate Western electric driver.
Yeah.
Is the way I look at them. And you don't see them very often in the United States. And this is the only person I know with a system using them.
Yep.
And we'll introduce Ben and show you how the system, what it's composed of, and we'll have a musical clip at the end. And with our modest setup, don't take too much from it. It's good for comparison, but it's not going to show the system at its best. But it'll give you a little idea of what this thing can do. And my take on his system is that it's an excellent system. It's very coherent. It's all of one voice. And it's everything you want in a good horn system. It is excellent clarity, excellent dynamics, no distortion, and you can hear deep into the music, and that's what we like about horns. And it's really good. What do you?
Yeah, one of the things that you'll notice is how big the system is. Right? It's over 6 feet high. It takes up a third of the room. But when you, from my perspective, if you look at the system and how complex it is, and you hear the music coming through it, there's a huge disconnect. It almost gives you you don't hear the separate drivers. It's got great coherence, and it delivers music in a very involving and emotional way. That's what I'm really impressed about Ben's system. Can I afford it? Do I have the ability to build it? No. But I'm glad that we're able to film it and deliver this video content to you, because in a few months, the whole system will be taken apart and Ben is moving away from Chicago. So this will probably be the last time you see something like this on YouTube.
Yeah, the system, he voiced it. Did an excellent job of voicing it, and like Quing said, you look and you see all these horns, this vertical array, and you think, oh, I'm going to hear this, and then I'll hear that, but nothing sticks out. It just is all speaking with one voice.
Yeah, I think some of it, obviously the quality of the drivers, and you mentioned the Goto drivers, I wish I could afford them, but the fact that he used first order crossovers to tie it all together, first order series crossovers to tie it all together, that might have something to do with the sound quality as well. So without further ado, we're going to deliver to you guys the first DIY horn loaded system from Ben.
Okay, here it comes.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So I mentioned sealed subwoofers. So there's a stereo pair that does about 100 hertz down, and then I have a second order crossover that goes up into the upper mid bass horns. This was probably the most difficult thing.
And these are hyperbolic horns, right?
Hyperbolic horns with a Fane Studio 8M and then I cross over. I want to say probably about 500 hertz or so into the lower mid-range. That's a Goto 555, and then that crosses up probably at 2000 hertz into Goto 370, I want to say. And then 10,000, it's a RAL ribbon
Wow.
tweeter.
So that 1-inch Goto driver goes down to 500 hertz on that horn. Wow.
Yeah, but the Western Electric driver it was based on went down around 200, I think.
Yeah.
And it actually, they
Yeah.
used it full range and it worked.
And it's a really, the actual diaphragm,
Mm-hmm.
not even very big, not a huge diaphragm in there.
Okay. And it's a phonetic diaphragm or is it an aluminum
It's
diaphragm?
aluminum.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then the crossover components, they're all like alligator clipped together. So sometimes I'll lose a channel and I'm like, wait, oh, yep, it's just reconnected. So it's nice to be able to experiment. I always intended to like get to a point where I kind of do a more permanent crossover, but the nice part is I can swap things out really easily, and
Okay.
and it's all first order except for what
Okay.
crosses the active crossover between the subwoofers and the rest of this. But all of this four-way
Mhm,
is
mhm.
all
First
first
order.
order.
Nothing serial, not series crossover, but all just simple parallel first order. Not the butt fry stuff.
Paul didn't get you to go series with
I
the
think
crossover.
it is all series actually.
Oh,
I think
okay.
Paul
Ah.
convinced me. I mean,
Paul is big on the series.
Yeah.
Oh,
He,
okay, okay.
That's-
I think he influenced that. So
Isaac
it was-
influence.
It wasn't terribly difficult.
We're gonna have to get Paul to talk
To do.
about it when we feature his system.
When I moved, I was like, rewiring everything. I had to take everything apart. I'm like, okay, how is this all going to
Yeah, it's not
connect again?
intuitive. Yeah.
I had a box of components,
Okay.
inductors, capacitors, and then I'm like, okay, now I have to rewire all
Right.
this. All right, so the racking, sometimes the best tools are something that already exists. So I didn't want to weld everything together. So I actually found a squat stand. Squat stand that had kind of modular components, and then I ended up just ordering some components, and then I built on top of that different mounts so that they could slide back and forth. You can get good time alignment with so that you can hook up a couple drivers, adjust them, and get them to be somewhat time aligned, and yeah, and try to get things to sync up pretty well. I know that Paul mentioned the story of like the tap dancing with the old Western Electric, one of those snail type horns, and there was
Yeah.
a big difference between the bass and the treble.
There's a 12-foot
They were-
difference.
There was a
With
12-foot difference.
Eleanor
Yeah.
Powell at MGM. That's when John Hilliard discovered time delay distortion, and that brought on the Shearer horn system. And Hilliard was always concerned with that. He found out that there's a turtle by your foot.
Oh yeah, that's
That,
my that's my turtle's free range tortoise.
That it was frequency dependent, and the lower the frequency, the more mismatch you could have without it being audible. But he still wanted no mismatch if he could
Yeah.
help it, and that's why
Yeah.
what he did with the voice of the theater. But you're not running here by Johnny Preston, do you? That's what I was about, yeah. I can sit here and use anything, yeah. Oh, right there. Little water, it's the same.
So that mid-horn 500 hertz to 2000 hertz. They sound seamless, man.
See the nice spot right there.